Hello, everybody, and welcome to PAPAtv Live, episode number 5. This is the third attempt where I'm saying this statement. We're actually going to try to get right into some pinball here. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, and we apologize for the delay.
I have absolutely no idea what happened, John.
Well, that's really reassuring because you're the person who's supposed to know what they're doing.
It could definitely happen again at any moment.
So, just so you know, in case you lose us, it's not because... somebody just blew up Pittsburgh.
It's someone else's fault. It's not our fault.
It's definitely not our fault. So why don't we go right into some pinball? Angela Drobka and Brian Tessier have gone into a challenge on Williams Hotline. Williams Hotline is a game of high skill, and we're going to see Ange here put up a monstrous score and never drain the ball. Good luck, Ange.
I flipped it 3 times now, and none of it was on film. And it's not going to happen again, see?
So, once again, sorry to our audience. It looks like we're actually streaming now, finally, and we're happy to see you guys out there. Ask us any questions you got. Tell us how much you're mad at us for being a little bit late here getting online. We apologize for that.
Mark and I were playing a game of Vanguard. That's why we're late.
You guys just, we're going to have to give you guys a cutoff on Vanguard. No more Vanguard. So, Fred, you're an EM expert. What's, oh my goodness gracious.
I don't tilt. God.
You don't tilt?
I just did.
Man. What's that little thing on the backlash say there? Could you, there's a little, placard.
I think it says
I think it says tilt ends game.
No, it's down on the bottom right. Ange, I'd like to hear you read it.
I lost.
And I just want to let you know that
unless Tessier tilts.
Mr. Wills in the chat room is really disappointed in you right now.
Actually, he's laughing at you.
Awesome.
So, Brian, the score to beat is 304. How many Monopoly dollars were you guys playing for here?
They were playing for 100 Monopoly
dollars.
dollars.
You guys had figured that out, right? 100 Monopoly dollars.
But this is Brian Slam Tilt Tessier, so I have faith.
So let's pretend you're in a tournament situation where somebody has put up a horrible score on a one-player EM, and you're walking up to it. I mean, I guess
with a score that low, I plunged 5 times and just walk away.
I wouldn't even touch anything.
Flip.
Right.
Let's see what he does. I think he's gonna beat this quite handily. I think here. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
I think he won. Drain for the win.
That's a winner.
Drain for the win.
All right,
so,
next game.
Oh my goodness!
Moving on.
That was some exciting Monopoly money, and we'd like to thank you for watching Hotline.
All right, fire it up, Brian. One more.
Come on. Yeah, we actually want to show people what this game does. What does this game do, Fred?
I have no idea.
All right.
You roll over the targets for a point, and if you complete a card, you get 300 points. The A and the B will light up the bumpers alternatively, and the 100-point dead bumper at the top.
Well, the cards. You're not actually completing a card. You're spelling Hotline. So you have to complete the letters. You'll see it's an H right now.
Okay, so she just got the B, or he just got the B. Brian, I just called you a girl. And lit up the 100 pop bumper, and he got an A. Or what is that?
Now it's an O. It spells Hotline. There's no A in Hotline, Fred.
There isn't? I was looking at the A.
Oh, right.
I'm distracted by the lights.
Yeah, A-B opening the gate's really important. I don't know that I would really shoot for the actual rollovers in the letters unless there was only 1 or 2 left. They're worth 300 points, but I think really the goal of this game in competition is just to try and get it up into the lit bumpers and hope that you get that to happen.
That was beautifully played, Brian.
So that was the gate, right?
Yeah, so getting A or B. A, you'll see on the playfield, it actually says A on the left. There's a little yellow stand-up right there. If you hit that, it lights the A, or if it goes through the little alley on the upper left, it'll light the A. And then the B target is directly below the dead bumper that keeps flashing on and off, or if it goes through the alley on the right side. And getting A and B will open the gate to send it back to the shooter lane, which in this is essentially like an extra ball.
Wow. And
Brian's killing it right now.
Well, actually, I mean, it looks like it's really good action when you can just get it to go back and forth over top of that center.
Well, the problem with it going back and forth over top of the center is that the unlit targets are only a point. They're not really worth much. If you can actually spell letters, like if he gets that center one there, that'll be worth 300 points. But otherwise, it's just a single point at a time. The pop bumpers, I would say, are where the real points are at.
Okay.
The lit ones, that is.
I'm starting to see what you're talking about. But in order to light those pop-uppers, you actually have to do again?
You have to get A or B. I think A lights the 2 red ones, and B lights the 2 yellow ones.
But there's 6 pop-bumpers up there.
Yeah, I have no idea what lights the lower green one. The upper one's a dead bumper.
Every other switch on the top one, the 100 one, it's every other switch it'll light up alternatively.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's sort of like a skill shot, basically. So you would plunge directly at it
Correct.
if it's on, or if it's not on, you would want to. Is there a switch up there to bounce it off of, or not?
Well, she just did it right there on the plunge. She just plunged it right into it and got 100 points just for plunging. So that's a skill shot, basically. And then, as you said before, I would always shoot up top like she just did there and just pray for the best.
Okay. Well, now let me ask you two this question: is this a skill game, or is this a keep the ball and play game?
I think it's a little bit of both,
Yeah.
actually.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't have the skill level a game like Nip It would have, or something where you can work the scissor flippers or something like that. But I don't know. It's not totally random, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it kind of is just to keep the ball in play. I think I'm going to go the other way, Fred. It's not very often in this game you're actually aiming a shot.
So this game is complete bullshit.
I wouldn't say it's complete bullshit.
I mean, I just wanted to distill it down to its purest form. So
no, I mean, like there's games that are a lot worse. I would way rather play this game than like Spanish Eyes or Misso or something like that.
El Toro.
Yeah, well, El Toro can go to hell. Yeah, like there actually is stuff to do in this game. I mean, if you know the rule set, you do have an advantage, but it's not really a big one.
okay.
I still say shooting up to the top is a skill, so I put the kibosh on either one of your descriptions. Thank you.
Like it's kind of funny to say that a game's bullshit because I remember watching someone play Cosmos, which if anyone has ever played Cosmos, you know that it seems like a game that's total bullshit. And then I watched someone, I think it was at the PPL finals, walk up to the one we have here, and she played it like 4 times in a row and beat my score handily every single time. And I walked away and I was like, you know what? She's just better at that game than me. There's either I'm not using the right set of flipper skills, I'm not doing something right, or she just knows she's better with the plunger, knows where the skill shot is, whatever it is. She's doing something that I'm not doing, and she did it 4 straight times, and and beat me every single time. So. Yeah, I don't know. I guess on one hand you could say it's bullshit because there is a lot of randomization, but on the other hand, I don't know. Some people are just better at this type of thing.
Actually, I wonder if some people are just better. Actually, I think
that's like Bob Matthews. I mean, every single time he plays target pull, it's like every 3rd game he rolls it. How the hell do you do that?
Yeah, I mean,
Begin his pointers from Mr. Polka.
I think it might have to do with people start reading the bounces on the machine better than other players, which is something you really don't do on modern games as much. I mean, you look for the bounces and say, hey, what's the percentage chance that I'm going to lose off that type of a bounce?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I understand subtle nudging, and I understand being able to see rebounds earlier than other people.
I think we're overanalyzing it.
Well, no, I mean, we're not necessarily analyzing Hotline, just like, these types of games in general. Yeah.
I mean, Fred, we have to do something while they're playing a game of Hotline. I mean, I don't want to call all the action on it.
Oh, come on. We were playing Derby Day last week, and it was...
and calling the action on that was pretty horrible.
Derby Day was fantastic.
You have to have a philosophical debate when you're watching a game of Hotline, I think.
So Sarta believes...
her previous drain is an example where I would think some players would have tried to nudge that into the right out lane, because the right out lane is worth 300 points, where the left side is special, which is Bubkiss. So right there is a difference of 300 points if you try and nudge or you don't try and nudge.
Well, if you might remember that she tried to nudge on her ball 1 of game 1 until it ends game. So she's playing smart now.
That doesn't mean you can't nudge at all.
Well, depends how tight the tilt is, I guess.
She only needs one more rollover. Come on, Ange, you can get it.
Yeah, this would probably be the only time I would actually try and shoot for one of those, if there's only 1 or 2 left like that.
See, I'm doing small nudges on there, but still.
It's gone. Look at that tilt end game.
Oh,
that was barely a nudge.
That wasn't much of a nudge.
Oh.
I'm not.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
You were going pretty good there for a second. So you
Well,
got really rough with the game.
We're going to give it one more try, and then we're going to actually move on to game 2 of the evening. We're going to actually keep it pretty short on Hotline because, well, Hotline is Hotline.
Yes.
There's not much to talk about.
No, but you don't see that game too often. I've seen it a couple other times, and I sort of feel like it's a rare game to find out in the wild.
I'll see what the Frenchman can do here. I wonder, are you guys betting Monopoly money on this game?
Not anymore.
Oh.
You cut your losses early.
I'm saving my money for you, Fred. We're going to have that freedom challenge at some point.
Yeah, one of these
That's
days.
when I'm calling you
I
out.
think it's that cord down there.
See, now there's back-to-back trains where he got the 300 both times. And, in a tournament, 600 points on this is pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah, score two or 3,000.
John, you're right in front of the camera, brother.
Now we got a little... I'm breaking up on the mic a little bit. I don't know if you are.
No, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, because in my ears I can hear myself breaking up. But anyways. But yeah, 300 points in this game is huge.
All right, so I guess at this point we're going to go ahead and jump over to Split Second, which is a pretty rare Stern machine you don't really see anywhere.
Yeah, I think the only time I've ever seen this is here. I don't think I've seen... actually, yeah, I think Andy Rosa had it up in Michigan once.
So who's jumping in here to play this game?
I'll play CDs. No problem. I'll head down and play Mr. Stevens.
Oh, so it's going to be the Grudge Master, the Classics Master versus the Master of the Universe.
And I am going to bet 200 Monopoly dollars on this game. So,
Got a lot of gambling with Monopoly dollars. At some point, we're going to have to actually tell people what these are worth.
well,
What are these worth?
Yeah, I was going to say you could tell me what they're worth. I'm not really sure myself.
I think Angela said they were worth back rubs earlier.
Oh, yeah, but that's something we really wanted to avoid.
Yeah, we had a disclaimer on that one, actually. We were looking over the contract, and I had some questions about that.
So let's talk about Split Second here.
I know nothing about Split Second. I mean, how about if I ask you some questions?
All right, fair enough.
Chris,
go ahead and fire it up whenever you're ready.
So, what? This thing is so complicated. What do you do on this?
Well, there's a couple different ways to score points. The spinner can be incredibly valuable, but it takes a while to build it up. What most people generally focus on is the upper play field. You'll see that little mini upper flipper in the upper left. You can use that to lock balls on the upper play field, and that the multi-ball can be worth a lot of points. Another strategy would be to build up the bonus X, which is done on the center three bank.
Okay.
And that can actually get built up to 15x. But more importantly, whenever you're doing that, you'll see that there's 2 3 banks in the middle of the playfield. The one's the dead center, and then the one's all the way on the right. The one on the right now is lit. And that means that 2 of those drop targets will spot you letters in Split Second. And the letters are incredibly valuable because they add, I think it's 200 per spin to the 200 per spin to the spinner on the right, plus 300 points, and they can build up to 2,500 a spin, which is a ton of points in this game.
I've never actually shot on purpose at that spinner before.
Well, usually whenever people play, it's really not worth all that much, but if you build it up, it can get big.
I mean, I'd like to say my standard strategy when I have played this game is basically just to try to shoot it up the left orbit, which is actually a ramp up so you can get it back up to
Just
the upper playfield.
Trying to play that upper playfield over and over.
I mean, it's safe up there.
Yeah, it is safe. That's there's a little bit of that. Some people play black hole that way, just trying to get down to the lower playfield and then make sure that you're safe down there and stay as long as you can. It can be a slow way to grind the game out. This one is actually even way more safer than that, obviously, because when you drain out of it, you're still in control.
I saw that he got a multi-ball really quickly there. How did he get the multi-ball so quick? Was there one locked from a previous game?
Yeah, I think it carried over, and And I believe you'll see on the upper playfield there's a couple different colored ribbons. There's a red, yellow, blue, and then a pink one. And the pink one, I believe, I can't really read it. Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the pink one is a captive ball release.
Does that sound right, Chris?
Oh.
The pink one up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to release one of the captive balls if you hit a target while it's blinking and screaming, hurry, at you.
Yeah, that's a really annoying sound.
I thoroughly enjoy it, actually.
Chris?
I like to aim for the number targets because I like when it tells me what number it is.
Now, one thing I want to point out real quick is you'll notice that the spinner for Chris on the right side is not lit right now, but he has split an S. He's got 6 letters, so that spinner right now is going to be worth 1,500 to spin. To light that, he has to hit one of the slingshots. So it's not something that he would be playing for right now, but if he gets into a situation where it is lit, it might be worth shooting.
And to answer Dark Matt's question, I have seen that game, and I don't think the game plays anything like that virtual pinball did on Sega Genesis, but the artwork does certainly share some similarities to it. It must have been that 80s artwork design.
There's a nice quick lock.
Yeah.
So this game was done in I think 1981, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So okay. So this was a 1981 game with speech, and some pretty complicated sound calls. I wonder why it didn't do better than it did, because they didn't make a whole lot of these.
No, I can't remember how many they made, but I know it was a low run. So you'll see right now, Fred has 2 balls locked on the upper right. One way to release all of these is you see the little alley, like the loop directly below that flipper where he's flipping now.
That goes down, you mean?
There's 2 red arrows, or there's 2 green arrows right there.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's like a horseshoe shot that you shoot from the lower playfield, and if you shoot it clean, then it will light your right in lane for release all balls.
Wow, that's really weird.
Yeah, right now that hurry noise right there is if he can complete the drops, will release 1 ball, or he could shoot the horseshoe and try and release them all.
I saw one of his in lanes just lit for something down there.
He got the number 5.
Oh, okay. So that doesn't...
Yeah, the numbers, there's 5 numbers spread around the playfield, and they're basically just bonus.
Wow, that was amazing. He just reached through the glass.
Pretty incredible. Yeah, you don't see that very often.
Hurry, Fred. Hurry.
Great sounds on this game.
We were talking about this 2 weeks ago. Like, when you have a game that's screaming at you to, do something faster, it makes me mess up.
Yeah, I think they do that intentionally. There's really no other reason to have hurry-ups other than to try and, make the player panic.
Quick, put in more money. Give me your money.
I'm not sure if Fred just doesn't know about the horseshoe shot releasing the captive balls.
That's probably what I'm going to start aiming for, even though I have my spinner lit.
Well, Fred...
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Chris, you're in a situation where you have both of Fred's locks sitting up there, and if you can hit the horseshoe quick enough, it's a pretty huge advantage, especially in a match play situation. So right there, Chris hit it, and it'll time you how fast it goes through that little horseshoe, and he's getting the middle one, which will give him points. But you have to have it go through on one of the faster 2 in order for it to light your captive ball. That one there was the slowest it can go through. I think that's only worth like 10,000 points or something.
It just seems like such a dangerous shot, because if you do it wrong, it's just going to come flying.
Yeah, it is dangerous. It's one of those risk-reward things. If you can hit it, you can hit it clean. One shot, and you're pretty close to a 3-ball multi-ball. There's a nice 5,000 points, and it wasn't lit, so I don't think you got the special. But it's a little cheat alley right back into the shooter lane.
And that's just another thing you wouldn't have noticed about this game probably the first time you walk up. Hey, well, look, there's a path back to the shooter lane. And we have a question in the chat. What do you get for spelling split second?
Spelling split second, I don't know if it gives you a special or not, but I do know that that's the value of your spinner. So right there, he just hit the second highest one. That should have lit your the captive ball release on the right side. I don't know if the bulb is out.
Maybe I should just shat it.
Yeah, give it a shot. I don't.
I'm gonna go for the spinner now. Oh yeah. I got too much Monopoly money on the line.
Oh, man. We can't even try stuff out because I got the Monopoly money. I don't know. I think we need the override switch. Take it all away.
Hey, you tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
I'm pretty sure that your right inline should be lit right now.
All right.
Shat's that thing.
Yeah, it was. The bulb was out.
Well, that was a lot of
build-up.
A lot of build-up to Chris playing controlled Chris play, which is,
So at this point, if you're sitting in multi-ball, I don't know, trying to move towards 15x bonus is probably a good thing, but, I don't know if this is...
Hold up a second, Mark. Did you see what just happened?
What, sitting in the shooter lane?
Yeah, so, look, it looks like we got a tournament play situation. And
Should I get a ruling?
Yeah.
The ruling is plunge away, brother.
Plunge away, and if you continue to play for more than 30 seconds without plunging...
Then we kick you in the kneecaps.
Yeah, well, especially for the live broadcast.
So one of the things that's a little goofy about this multi-ball is if you go up to the upper playfield, which you would think is safe, and you lock that ball, I'm pretty sure you just lose it. I think it just goes into the lock.
Just like that.
Yeah. So
it's another one of those. Somebody called it the Stephen Hawking game.
Yeah, so he got the awesome sound effect to listen to, but he got boned out of a ball in his multi-ball.
Well, I guess that's worth something. No, actually not really, but...
Yeah, so at this point with split and then Secco, I think all the points are going to be on the spinner here. What's he at? 565.
And so you got 30,000 for that spin.
Right, and it wasn't maxed, and I wouldn't even say that was a clean full spinner.
It looked pretty good to me, but yeah, I mean, you could be right on that.
Yeah, we were playing earlier before we were broadcasting, and we got it maxed out, and there was a couple 100G spinners.
Yeah, it's very low on the flipper shot, so it doesn't really have a lot behind it.
Yeah, not a lot of power in there. I guess getting it into multi-ball and just trying to rip it through there, or maybe just hope something bounces in a couple times.
So we're going to see Chris try to put the nail in the coffin here. We know that Fred's a ball 3 player, though. He likes to drain his first 2 balls out and just, try to make you feel like you're going to win, and then crush your hopes and dreams on ball 3.
Call that the Belcito.
Well, around here we call it the Cochrane.
Chris is up to 5x on 1,000. Nice healthy bonus there.
I thought Belcito was better known for last-second qualifying attempts.
I think it's just any type of comeback.
Okay. Don't call it a comeback.
This is one of the rare games where you can get 15x 1,000. I don't think the super bonus carries over, but your bonus multiplier does the way this one's set up.
Everybody's doing Dracula quotes in the chat room. I'm not going to do any of those because I'm really horrible at those. Brian Tessier, you want to try one of those?
Absolutely not, John.
Okay. Well, welcome to the microphone, Brian. It's good to have you here.
Oh, thank you very much, John. It's glad to be here as well.
So how did you feel about your match versus Angela?
Felt like it was an easy 200 Monopoly dollars there, John.
Oh, man. Angela's gonna have something to say about that.
Oh,
you just called her Monopoly dollars easy to win.
At least this time they were.
Okay.
Fred's really trying to push through on that upper playfield here. I don't know if it's
Oh
just,
my goodness gracious! Did you see that?
Yeah, that ball wanted out.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's a quick taste of split second.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. What do you say, Mark? Do we want to give that another? I think we should actually probably move on to the main event because.
Want to run over to World Poker Tour?
Yeah, we're on a hard cut deadline for this evening, just so we can get back and watch some of the baseball game.
All right, let's see what we can do.
So this will be a little bit shorter show than we normally do. Mark, we have to do a little camera adjustment here. So, actually, Chris, could you grab those sheets for me off of Adam's family? I'm going to need those up here in the booth. So, Brian, what Rep Local fears is? Yes. I am a beast. I am a monster. I must be destroyed. Before we do this segment on World Poker Tour, I'd like to mention that World Poker Tour I've found to be probably the most underappreciated Stern game. Like, I'm talking not just an underappreciated. I think that is the most underappreciated. I've owned 2 of them at this point, and I could not believe how deep the rules were on them. And I actually, Brian, I mean, I know you spent some time playing a World Poker Tour at my house as well. It was, I mean, what's your thoughts on the game?
I think that there is still so much more to learn on this game from what I already know on it. I know how to get the multi-balls going and get those stacked. But I think what we're going to see here is going to help us all learn a little bit more on this.
Okay. So let's, Chris, if you just want to point out a couple things before we start playing it.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so the first thing that happens when you plunge the ball, it goes into a vertical up kicker, which fires it onto the upper playing surface. There are 6 shots in the upper playing surface, and the far left shot actually lights the mystery, which is the cut your card shot. And the cut your card shot is actually on the lower playfield, and it is the vertical up kicker that kicks it up to the upper playfield again. There's 3 targets on the upper playfield. Those all advance the hurry-ups. And once you light a hurry-up, which is done by spelling World Poker Tour, which, you know, each target gives you World Poker or Tour, then you have to shoot it through the hole on the upper playfield.
Oh my God! Just plunge the ball.
Oh, come, we gotta do this. We gotta go through
I'm
this.
enjoying myself.
I was enjoying Vanna Chris there.
All right, keep on going. Let's just watch while you talk.
Okay, so a lot of players start off by going for the ace in the hole strategy, which there's a jailbreak on the top playfield, and if you put it into that, you will lock the ball up. And as you can see, he hit it once, and it says 2 more hits to light lock.
Right by that little red light.
Right, which is actually the opto.
Really? There's not actually a light back there?
That's actually the opto that it provides the red light.
All right, so step 1 on this game, try to stick it into that, try to knock down the little gate guarding the red light and get it into that hole.
Now, interestingly about the hurry-ups, if you don't collect the hurry-up and you drain down the front of the mini playfield, you lose the hurry-up value, which is pretty mean.
Can you collect the hurry-up value on both sides of the upper playfield?
There's only one way to get back down from the upper playfield.
Oh, so if you shoot it up to the left side, then it won't go down.
It won't go down. It actually just lights the mystery and then returns to the left flipper.
Okay.
I got some interesting information on this game from Keith Johnson, and he said as far as playing strategy, he always actually likes to start by playing the skill flip, which is a skill shot, and you trigger the skill shot. There's 3 flashing white lights on the in the plunger lane, and if you hit the vertical up kicker there when it's flashing the one you want, you'll actually get that award. So the skill flip actually makes you shoot the light mystery shot, and it starts at a value of 1 million, and it increases by 1 million every time you do it. It's up to a maximum of 5 million points, which...
That's pretty substantial, and especially in competitive play.
Right. I mean, like, you never know exactly what other people are going to put up. If you can get to a point where you're making...
5 million just on a skill shot.
That's pretty huge.
So what's the what other goals are there aside from playing the ace in the hole?
Well, your primary... There's 4 multi-balls on the game, and we should probably spend a little time talking about all of them. So there's the ace and hole multi-ball,
which he's in right now.
Right. And now, during this multi-ball, he can put a ball back in the lock and get an add a ball up to 2 additional times. So you can get up to 4 balls there. You can get an additional add a ball from the cut your cards, which is the mystery shot, which I was talking about earlier, that you lit on the left side of the upper playfield. And the mystery shot is at the top of the playfield to the right of the left ramp. Now, the interesting thing about ace in the hole and a multi-ball, it stacks with all the other multi-balls.
So ace in the hole seems like a real good starting off point to try and bring in the rest of the game.
Right. I mean, if you can... Also, the wonderful thing is you can keep it in 2-ball play with a multi-ball in reserve, because after you put one back in, it'll lock it up for a while.
So what is stopping someone from just playing ace in the hole over and over and over and doing nothing but that?
The settings. Actually, if you set the ace in the hole settings to, I want to say very easy or something like that, it'll be lit all the time. And you can just go back up there and open it back up. But I think the settings we have on here is you either have to advance through a city or at least complete a hand of poker in order to relight it. I'm not sure which.
I believe it's set up where you have to complete a city or advance a city.
So actually that makes it pretty difficult. Keith Johnson mentioned that he likes to see the game set up. You can actually change the settings on the cities and make them a little easier, because once you get past maybe the 2nd or 3rd city, you're having to play, I think, 4 and 5 and 6 hands of Hold'em just to get through the city. So it gets extremely difficult to advance when it's set up hard, like it is on here.
In the hands of Hold'em being the giant display right in the middle of the playfield, and you're gaining hands by shooting the ramps. Right now, the river is lit on both ramps. Anyone who's not familiar with Hold'em, well, just read about Hold'em, and the game will make a lot more sense.
Interestingly enough, from the lower right flipper, you can actually do a really nice backhand of the right ramp. Try that, Chris.
I will do my best.
So what other multi-balls are there? We've talked about the ace in the hole, and you talked a little bit about the completing hands, but what are the other multi-balls people can work towards?
Okay, so first there's something called the no-limit multi-ball, which is what you would consider the standard multi-ball of the game. On the below the sets of drop targets on the lower left is a target that says light lock. And if you hit that, it's a green target. It's a little bit hard to see. And it's right next to the LED display in the middle of the playfield. If you hit that target, you're going to light the lock that is up where the poker corner is, which is to the right, to the left of the right ramp.
Right there.
I got you.
Which it just fell back, it fell out of that area. There's also the all-in multi-ball, which you get by shooting loops. And you shoot the orbits after you get an in lane. If you do 10 of them, you'll get the all-in multi-ball, I believe it is. Maybe it's 7. I'm not entirely sure anymore. And there's also the poker hands multi-ball, which you get by completing drop targets and building poker hands. And you can tell those poker hands by the white inserts above the LED display in the middle of the playfield.
So this is a ton of information. The game's very complex. Distill it down to a very basic strategy. Whenever you walk up to the game, what's the first thing you're going to do, and then what's the second thing you're going to do?
I don't think I can distill it down to that simple of a strategy. This is such a wonderful game because...
Well, you got to do something first.
Well, I mean, everybody... Yeah, but I don't want to say this is what you're supposed to do. I mean...
I'm asking you what you do.
What I do?
Yeah.
First thing I'll do is go for an ace in the hole multi-ball. And then I'm going to see where that takes me, because the first thing I want to do is add a ball in the ace and hole multi-ball. So I'm going to either do cut your cards, which is the mystery, or I'm going to try to get balls back up into the ace of the hole lock, and hopefully that, I can keep the multi-ball going. When I have balls in the lower play field, I'm either looking to advance through cities or actually build towards the other multi-balls. So it's always... What you just heard there is the stern replay noise, which actually amplifies all the rest of the sounds on the machine. It makes it really loud.
It's kind of startling.
And so, yeah, I mean, just to give an answer for that, I think there's a lot of different ways you can play this particular game, and none of them are completely wrong.
So the one part of this game that I've never really felt comfortable bringing in is the orbit multi-ball. I don't know why. I just whenever the balls are in the lower playfield, I always find myself just alternating ramps. When would you, as a player, bring in the orbits? Is it just whenever you have enough misses and you're close enough to that you're just going to go ahead and go after it, or is there actually a mode or something that where you would focus specifically on those?
I think it's very easy to actually do the orbits when you're in a multi-ball. So I don't really spend much time on the orbits the rest of the time. So I might get the ace in the hole multi-ball and then pound some orbits. Because you don't want to be going directly after drop targets with all the balls you have in play.
Yeah, that just kind of happens.
It gets crowded. Yeah, it kind of happens and things get crowded. You don't... Very rarely, I think, on this game do you end up specifically going after drop targets to get the poker hands multi-ball. I think a lot of the time you're going to be shooting after other goals, and that'll just happen over time. So, the modes. Let's talk about the modes. First interesting thing about this is modes are selectable, which mode you're going to play. If you're holding the ball on the left flipper, for example, you can actually cycle through the modes that are lit by hitting the right flipper.
You can see the insert changing down in between the slingshots there, a little white insert.
Yeah, in between the slingshots and in the middle of where the modes are is actually the city advancement. So now we've actually explained most of the inserts on the center of the playfield, and you're probably going to want to go back and watch some of this again if you're actually looking to learn this. But the mode start is in the same place the lock is. So the mode start is just to the left of the right ramp. So a lot of times you're going to be able to play a mode, and you can bring that mode into a multi-ball with you. Mark, you've played this some. I mean, what's your favorite modes to play?
Well, it's got to be the change gears mode. Just very lucrative.
Why is that?
I don't really. I honestly don't really know. I just know that I know that whenever I play it and that ends up getting stacked with a multi-ball, that the points go up. I know. The mode. The mode asks you to get the balls up to the top of the playfield. Maybe you can explain a little better than I can, John. You actually have a lot more time on the game than I do.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, a chip in a chair is also a good one because you can also just pound all the drop targets are lit for points. Change gears, I've seen ridiculous scores. The hardest mode for me is steal the blinds.
Is the chip in the chair or is the chip in the chair mode the one where the drops don't reset?
I believe that is the one where they do reset up until a certain point. Okay. And now I could be saying this wrong, and I hope I'm not, but it's been a little while since I've gone through it. Oh, Chris just did a chip trick there. So anytime you come through an in lane, it'll light all the shots for all the white inserts will light up, and if you get all those, you'll go into super trick mode, which is a timed mode where if you complete it, you can get an extra ball out of it. And it looks like Fred's going to come in and do a little talking for us on...
How you doing down there, Fred?
Not too bad. I'm going to see if I can not embarrass myself too badly up here.
Fred, what's your strategy whenever you're first walking up to World Poker Tour?
The little bit that I know about the game is I go for the multi-ball at the top.
Ace in the hole.
Ace in the hole. I usually go for that at first, and then just shoot for lit shots, to be perfectly honest, Mark. Oh.
Okay, so
There we go. I'm going to listen. That's why I wanted to listen, too. I wanted to hear some strategy from you guys so I know what to shoot for.
well, really, what I want to see is when you get into a no-limit multi-ball. A no-limit multi-ball, once again, is where you hit the lower left drop stand-up target, which is the green flashing shot.
Okay.
And then you hit the mode start shot, which will also light up for lock. You hit that 3 times. That'll start your no-limit multi-ball.
Okay.
That tends to be the most difficult multi-ball to understand in the game. It's sort of like playing, I want to say, Two Towers multi-ball on Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of rules to the multi-ball on how the jackpots are scored. Except on Two Towers, you can just go ahead and shoot stuff and you'll get points. No limit multi-ball, you actually have to plan out your jackpots a little better if you actually want to score well. Hopefully we'll get into that and we can talk about that.
So one nice thing, you're talking about ace in the hole being stackable with multiple things. I believe that I've seen players in the past have 2 balls, an ace in the hole on the left flipper, and just backhand one hard up into that lock target. It's a little bit safer than just firing at it from the right flipper.
Well, I haven't seen that before. I don't remember trying that, but that would make sense. I think the angle looks right.
You got to hit it pretty hard. We were, CDs and I were doing it a little bit beforehand. You got to hit it pretty hard, but it'll get up there.
Oh, he's got some fish hooks.
Fish hooks. What are those fish hooks?
Apparently they're jacks.
Pair of jacks.
All right.
3s are crabs. Snowmen are 8s. What else is there? There's
Speed limit, 55.
oh, I never heard about that. There's the 5 and dime, the old 5 and 10.
5 and dime.
I used to go there and buy bulk candy. It's a beautiful store.
Bullets are obviously aces. Everyone knows the old American Airlines.
Right. And cowboys, which would be
Cowboys
kings.
would be the kings.
Ladies.
Yeah.
So fish hooks, what's a pair of 10s?
I don't know.
Pair of 10s.
Yeah, just a pair of 10s. No, Queen Jack is a maverick.
Right. Right.
You know,
Sail- oh, 4s. 4s are sailboats, aren't they?
Yeah, 4s are sailboats. That's right. Gosh, amazing names. And they got the Doyle Brunson, which is ace 8.
No, the ace and the 8's the dead man's hand.
Dead Man's Hands, yeah. That's from, what is that, Kiss the Girls?
It's
Dead Man's Hand.
well, isn't it from hell? Who was it? Was it Jesse James? I can't remember who it was. Someone got killed with.
Oh,
hand.
yes.
Yeah, a 9 and a 6 is dinner for 2.
Oh God.
Wow. Is that from your pinball handbook? I think it might be. Yeah, actually, the Dead Man's Hand, they said it was originated, guy was playing, a guy came up behind him and shot him in the back of the head.
Wow.
It was somewhat famous though. It was it's a popular name. It's gonna drive me
Oh,
crazy.
thank you, Yancey. That's right. 10s are boxcars.
Ah,
I didn't remember that.
I don't understand why they're boxcars.
I think that was from that game in the 70s called High Rollers with the dice.
And I got Doyle Brunson wrong, too. It is a 10, too. You're right.
Good job, Mark. Good job, John.
Yeah, well, you know. My poker days are behind me now. I'm no longer 8-tabling it on online internet.
Ah, 8
Poker.
tables, really?
Oh, yeah. I used to play. I didn't play 8 very well, but I'd play 6 pretty well at once.
I once watched my brother go to war at a casino 3 straight times, and he ended up betting. He put 20 down, and he ended up having to triple that in order to just win his original money back. He lost.
Of course, that's usually what happens when you go to war. Somebody ends up losing, and it's usually you. What's a Wild Bill Hickok?
I don't know.
I mean, somebody's saying...
It's a distant cousin of me.
Sorry, Yancey, I'm not calling a pair of queens that on air, even though you might be
We're
correct about the history of poker references.
I'm losing track of what's happening in the game here. Where's Chris? Chris has got the river lit on both sides. Chris, did you have a ball stuck up there in the?
He does not.
He does not.
And he's got his lock lit down there, though, so I'm not sure where he's at with the lock balls yet, though.
I took his headphone.
So the orbits, John, I'm noticing that they're hitting a post up there. Is there a setting that will allow that to go the whole way around, or is it always just feeding into the pops?
Actually, yeah, there is settings. There's settings that you can cause the post not to stop the balls when you're playing the poker hands. So if you're hitting the ramps, it'll actually just come right on through, and you can keep playing it. And it actually makes this a flow game, which is really a good thing. I mean, and there's also a way where you can stop the balls from going through the from stopping in the upper orbits, which make that more of a flow game too. Truly, this game is just so underappreciated.
A lot of drop targets. Is this the game with the most ever?
I really don't know that answer. I mean, El Dorado has a lot of drop targets, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to count.
Actually, this might have more than El Dorado. Actually, that's a question for our chat room. What's the game with the most drop targets ever?
Come on, internet, let us know.
You're the one that can't keep it up top.
So are you just trying to play up top? And I see you got your lock lit there, Fred.
I'm going to go in for that right now. And I missed.
Nice double danger save.
Yeah.
I think we should mention to anyone watching if the center display looks like it's acting a little goofy. I think it's just something going on with the camera. I don't know how that looks for you, John, over there.
No, I'm getting a little bit of a flicker effect on the broadcast. So, yeah, I'm thinking it just might be the number of frames per second that are being shot with the camera. I agree with you, Dead Flip. There's a lot of people who actually don't really understand much about World Poker Tour, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to give it a little bit of a highlight here, because this game is so underappreciated, and it's so deep in the rules. Hey, Chris, when you get a second, I'd actually like you to pause. I want to show people what the Pocket Rockets. Nice job. American Air.
I told him to go ahead and hold the ball when he gets it. So
Okay.
I'll give him the headphones if you want them to have the headphone.
So if you look through the status report on this game, you can actually see what you need to do in order to get to the final wizard mode, which is probably one of the most difficult to get to wizard modes in all of pinball. You need to score 25 million points in a whole lot of different things. In your no-limit multi-ball, in your hurry-ups. Yeah, go ahead. Just let it scroll through and you can see. There's so much information in these in this display that the first time you look at it, you're going to go, wow, look at all these extra balls I can get.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Everything had an extra ball affiliated with it.
And, okay, now you start seeing things for the Kiefer Invitational. So, ace in the hole, you've scored 1.8 million. You need 25 million more, or 25 million total. And you might say, well, I'm having a pretty good game. It looks like I'm pretty close. And then you're going to be short on just one of those. And suddenly it's one of the most frustrating things to get to.
It's a lot of points.
It seems ridiculous.
I have been one away from it. Like like I had all the 25 millions done except for I think it was that game was the no limit multi ball.
How long would that take to actually get to the Kiefer Invitational?
It probably was about an hour game. I figure we maybe it was an hour and a half. I mean, it was like a 600 million point game. World Poker Tour, which is pretty scary. And I still couldn't get it done.
What's this game worth, Fred?
Monopoly money.
300.
300 Monopoly dollars.
Yeah, a fool and his money is soon parted when it comes to me playing pinball.
If he beats you, you're going to just pick him up and bench press him again?
That's not going to be... It's not going to make up for the $600 I'm going to lose here.
So one interesting thing is on every ball lock up there with the ace in the hole or the other locks, you actually get to choose that. You get to build that hurry up again.
Right. I mean, and you can build those hurry ups and maybe collect 4 or 5 million points off a single hurry up if you're having a good up or flipper shot. But remember, you lose it if you come below.
So obviously the hurry up can build up to good points, and advancing hold'em is pretty self-evident. That can be important as well. Is there anything worthwhile in just choosing mystery over and over and over?
Really, I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't either. I've never actually picked it repeatedly for a game. I'm not even sure what is in there.
I mean, I think you can advance hold'em. I think you can. I know mystery can award like a certain amount of points, like little points, big points, something like that. I'm not sure about all the awards. Let me look at the information I have here and see if.
My guess is that for tournament mode, it probably is a set pattern. I don't think Kiefer's going to make it random.
Oh, just to talk about ace in the hole multi-ball a little bit more. After you've locked the ball for an add a ball 2 times, every time after that you lock the ball in jail, instead of adding a ball, super jackpots are lit on the captive ball instead. These are worth a minimum of 2.5 million per hit. So if you're about to lock the 3rd ball in the jail during one multi-ball, make sure you have another ball ready to go up there because it will only stay locked for about 10 seconds and then it's going to drop back out. So 2.5 million per hit, that's a lot of points in that ace of the hole. In the poker hand multi-ball, every time you get a 1, 2, or 3 times jackpot, which is done by completing the bank of targets in time, it will light that many lights in the middle of the poker hand display. Completing all 9 lights will light a roving super jackpot worth 5 million, and that value only increases. You can also triple that super jackpot. You might notice that there's a triple playfield scoring on your in lanes that's sometimes lit. If you have that lit, you want to choose when you use it. So if you did a 5 million point shot and tripled it, obviously that's 15 million points. So let's talk about the modes, and you can win trophies during the modes. Whenever you start playing a mode, it'll say you need to do X more of this to get a trophy. The trophies serve 2 purposes. The first is that it makes your jackpots worth more in the Poker Wizard multi-ball. And the jackpots in that start at 500,000 points and are worth up to 5 million points with all 6 trophies. So that actually is a significant increase in the final multi-ball.
This rule set is so dense. There's so much to know.
Well, I don't expect everybody to absorb every bit of information that I'm telling them right now, but it might be useful to actually listen back to this at a later time.
I'm going to have to go home and listen to it a few times just to learn all the stuff that I don't know.
And the second thing about the trophies is that when you play the modes after the first time, any mode you have a trophy for at the start, the score is double for that entire mode, which is actually very significant if you go back through the modes again. And just so you know, the Poker Wizard mode is done by completing all the modes. So you complete all the modes, you get to go to the mini wizard mode.
So are the modes always lit? Do they just, after you complete one, does it just relight, or is there something you have to do?
No, I said this earlier, but you actually have to go through and you will have to probably complete either a poker hand or a city.
So you just have to do something, or we just don't know?
No, you definitely have to do something, and it depends on the settings you have on the game.
Right.
I think you actually may be able to set the game up so the modes are already lit, always lit. Like if you put it on like an ultra easy setting or something.
For some reason on Route, that's the way that I remember having it.
Right, and you have this set up for tournament, and I actually think that either you or Doug set it up, and you probably didn't understand all of what goes in, and you probably just said, well, let's just set this hard. And now there's a little more information here for you about that.
I don't know. Usually the standard tournament settings, if we don't know what to do on a game, if it's a long player, then we'll just make physical changes. A lot of times we won't change anything on the software. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe one of us said it, but my guess is that it's in tournament mode and everything else is standard.
Okay, a couple other notes. So the all-in multi-ball, which is once again done by doing the orbits, you really want to go for that multi-ball if you have a good hand going. So if you, and in order to get, once again, to get to the all-in multi-ball, you have to increase the pot value to a certain amount, and then it's going to start the multi-ball. But if you use the 3 times shot on a spinner, it's going to actually increase the main pot 3 times as fast. So it's not just the points that you're getting for the shot, it's also the effect of the shot. And if that particular shot that you do it 3 times puts you all in as well, then you're going to receive triple the points for finishing the hand. So that can be, if you get over 2 pair, it's, you know, probably going to be more than 5 million points.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to get the ball locked. That's what I'm gonna try. And then I'll worry about all that other ancillary things after the fact.
I like the way you simplify, Fred.
Keep it simple.
Keep it in layman's terms, things I can understand.
That's why you and I play classics games.
Yes, yes.
So that's pretty much all the information I have on World Poker Tour, and a big thanks to Keith Johnson. Actually, also thanks to Steve Bowden and Josh Sharp, who provided information on this game.
So what else is going on, John?
Actually,
I'll fill the dead air. If you really want me to start talking,
well,
I will.
I'm sorry. I was just, talking for like 10 minutes straight
Because
about
I will
World
start
Poker
being
Tour.
stupid on the mic.
Well, I don't know if we can stop that.
Yeah, that's true. Too. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Mark, we have a question about, and the question is, what are the rules for the Monopoly money?
Oh, well, it's pretty simple, actually. Everyone here has 1,000 Monopoly dollars, and we're going to be wagering them just pretty much whenever it feels like we're willing to wager them. There's really no time where it's not allowed. And it's a winner-take-all. So we're just going to be doing it week to week, and we're going to keep track of how many we have, how many we win, how many we lose in every given week. And at some point, I'll come up with some kind of standings so that people can follow along with our progress. But, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Also, Evan just pointed out on the chat room that the Pinball News website has a really in-depth rule set on World Poker Tour. So if you want to go check out Pinball News, you can actually read some of the stuff that we've been talking about here. And maybe this is the type of game that sometimes you actually just, it's good to watch this.
You need a study guide.
Yeah, this might you might require like a World Poker Tour 101 class.
Well, I think that this game has a different level of challenge to understanding the rules because it makes the assumption that you actually know how to play poker. I won't say that is critical to being good at the game, but it helps. And if you walk up to Lord of the Rings or walk up to some of the other stuff, you don't necessarily have to know how to play the game. I guess Wheel of Fortune is another game that makes an assumption that you have a basic understanding of how to play Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, but I don't think you need to know how to play Wheel of Fortune to do well at it. I really don't think you need to know how to play poker to do well at this.
No, I mean, shooting the flashing lights is going to get you...
It's pretty functional.
It's going to advance you through stuff. But, it begs the question of whether or not theme integration... Like the theme integration for this is different than the theme integration for Walking Dead. For Walking Dead, mostly it's just going to be lights and sounds and and that type of thing, and just a general feel. And there's no actual technical knowledge that you're going to need to know. You're not going to have to know how many zombies that someone shot or something in a particular episode in order to have a heads up on the game.
I mean, I don't think you actually have to know what hands are better than what other hands to start playing World Poker Tour, but it might make it a little easier as you go on. Because you can actually win a hand with Queen High, and advance through a city, which is sort of scary.
Oh, man, I keep on missing that shot. It's terrible.
Oh, Angela just joined us on the microphone. Welcome back to the mic, Angela.
Thank you. I think it's good to be back.
So Angela, actually, while we're watching them play some Moral Poker Tour, let me do a real short couple questions with you. Oh,
Sounds good. Sounds good.
just a second.
1 second.
Oh,
Come on, Fred, get that ace in the hole.
I'm going to try. Always had a problem with that.
Have you guys backhanded that right ramp? I'm having a hard time seeing in my monitor here.
That's not going to happen with me playing. I'm going to shoot the left ramp, then shoot the right ramp on the fly. Or do that.
So you're building up the main pot value and you get all in at 1.25 million. So
Yeah, if you say so, John, that's definitely helpful because I don't know what I'm really doing. Goodbye.
well, remember when you shoot those orbits, every time you hit the spinner, you're increasing your main pot value.
Okay.
And if you get enough of those shots at the orbits, you're going to get a multi-ball out of that. So, I mean, that just something to aim for there.
I can't get it in there. Nope.
So, Angela, I wanted to do the quick question and answer thing with you. So, why don't you state your full name for the record?
My full Christian name? I don't.
Your full Christian given name, however, What is your name, Angela?
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I don't want to be a fireman. I want to be a princess.
It's not a tumor at all.
Take your toy and get back to the carpet.
Wow, this is really going away.
When did Arnold walk in?
Because she wouldn't give her name, so I just started doing, who is your daddy and what does he do?
Arnold was the reason we were having technical difficulties. He was just tearing out cords and throwing things.
T1000 was having interference.
Yeah. It's Angela Christine Drobka.
That's.
Christine.
Christine.
Oh.
That reminds me of a certain movie.
Christine?
That might be it.
And a good book when Stephen King used to write horror.
And normally I ask my guests what their age is, but I'm not going to actually ask that because I heard it was inappropriate to ask that of a woman. So, and
Not too bad.
Ask me every inappropriate question.
actually I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start off with asking a couple of the questions from the chat. What is your favorite color?
Purple, of course.
Okay. What are your thoughts on a female division at Papa?
That would be great. Well, here's the thing. I have a limited amount of money, so I'm going to be playing in classics and probably division. It would be great for another thing to win if you have the money and the time, but you guys see the lines at classics. You guys see the lines in divisions. I just don't think there would... For me, I don't think there would be time. I'd maybe put an entry in just to go, okay, hey, but...
Mark, what are your thoughts on that? I see you over there listening in.
On what? A women's division?
Women's division, sure.
I don't know. I mean,
I know we've talked about doing it.
my thoughts are pretty simple. It's, my personal opinion doesn't really matter on whether we should or we shouldn't. It's just a matter of critical mass. If I get a whole bunch of emails of people that say they want one, then we'll do it. If I get a whole bunch of people or a whole bunch of emails of people that say we shouldn't do it, then we won't do it. It's just strictly a matter of what the audience wants. I mean, like the audience wanted a D division, so you know what? They're getting a D division. It really is that simple.
Okay, so I mean, I'm just sort of curious.
There's pros and cons for it, of course, but for someone like me, I want to play with the big boys because when I do eventually win and get my name up there on a banner, it's going to be way more satisfying for me. But I also like playing with women, too. I think there are some good things. I think it's a way for women to come out and enjoy the sport without being in that competitive atmosphere. But I love being competitive. I love being aggressive.
Actually, that question in the chat actually made me think of another, and I hate to make it stereotypical, but like a stereotypical question that, pinball is looked at as a man's sport in a lot of ways. I mean, there's definitely more men that play it than women, but the
YouTube statistics, demographic-wise, are 96% male. It is a male-dominated game.
No, that's even worse than I thought. Angela, do you think I've heard it put forth that pinball has this male domination because it is actually sexually exploiting women, and like obviously some back classes are very sexy and stuff like that. Do you think this is the case, A, and is it a bad thing, B?
Oh boy.
I know. I'm actually loading the gun with this question.
Let me preface this by saying I'm not speaking for all women because I know there are so many different opinions on this.
Goodbye.
For me personally, I love artwork. That's one of the things I love when I come up to play pinball. And for me, I love those 1980 ballad games where you have the bikini-clad women, you have men in loincloths, and there's, sword fighting and dragons and all that kind of stuff. If I had real dragons at my house and bikini-clad women and men in loincloths, I wouldn't be interested in playing those games. It's fantasy.
What kind of party would be going on at your house?
Sounds like a Tarzan movie.
Exactly.
I got 3 dragons out back.
For me, it's that nostalgia. I've always been a gamer. I've played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, I'm a geek, but the one really cool thing about Dungeons and Dragons is there's that beautiful fantasy artwork. And I'm a big, I can't think of the guy's name. I think it's Ferris that did the artwork on Paragon and Lost World and Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
He's one of my favorite artists, and that kind of artwork reminds me of the artwork in, the Dungeons and Dragons game and the whole White Wolf world. I love seeing that kind of fantasy artwork.
So it's sort of you enjoy role playing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's cool. What is your favorite pinball machine?
Stargazer.
Stargazer.
Without a doubt. I have a top 10, but it's a top 7, and then there's kind of the last 3 slots are rotating.
Stargazer. That's a really cool choice. That's a great game.
Mm-hmm. I love Stargazer.
What is your favorite competition game to see? Like, what would make you the happiest to see in a competition?
It depends on what I've been practicing the most for the previous 3 months or so. I like games that are fun in competition because there's nothing worse about playing a game that's tough and then you get angry and then you start to hate that game because you did bad on it. I love seeing games like Monster Bash in competition. That's a fun game. Let me go back and answer this one question that I saw that Next had about how do I get my girlfriend and wife to love pinball. Be nice to them. Show them the things that you love about it. Show them the best parts of pinball, because I have seen girlfriends come in here and take a chance and start, trying out on pinball. And it's the guys that make the snide comments like, oh, well, they played good for a girl. That's going to make women walk out the door.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. And that's also, that's really not good for the hobby or good.
No.
That's just not good for life. That's a bad way to look at that.
No, we have a great pinball family in this pinball world, and get them out, introduce them to those people, because that's the other thing that makes pinball great is you go to all these events and tournaments, you see, people from other states, from other countries, all over the world. That's the only time you might get to see them that year, and it's great. It's like a huge pinball family reunion.
What is your least favorite game to see in a tournament? What's the poison pill? The game that you look at and say, "Oh my goodness, I'm not going to survive this no matter what I do."
If Avengers is in a tournament, I'll walk right past it. I just don't like playing it at all.
I second that. Actually, Mark, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when we were told that we had to play a game of Avengers at a certain tournament?
Yeah, it was the GameWorks tournament in Chicago, and didn't we play like Cruisin' Exotica or something instead?
It was, yeah, I think that was, and we had a whole lot more fun than we would have playing Avengers, I think.
Yeah, you beat me at it, actually.
Well, I certainly had a lot of fun.
If it's classics, I hate seeing Haunted House. That game is my nemesis, so now the secret's out. If you want me to lose in a tournament, put 6 Haunted Houses in there. You would think that theme would be nice to me with my love of scary things, but it hates me. Absolutely hates me.
So, looks like we're coming down to the final ball here on World Poker Tour. Fred's going to take this one, and Chris is crying over there. You can see that he can't even stand upright anymore. He's just so upset. By the way, Chris beat me in a tournament this weekend. It was very frustrating, and I just need to get in all the cheap shots I can. We'd like to thank you guys for joining us this week on PAPAtv Live. Next week, we have a special show lined up where we're going to have 3 out-of-town guests.
What's that?
And
Okay.
and Bowen Cairns is going to be coming in from Massachusetts. He's going to do some special stuff. I'm not going to tell you what games we're doing quite yet, but I can say they're relevant to current events, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
There's one other person coming in, right?
Yeah, Joe Saeed and Austin are coming up from D.C. area, I believe. So,
Always great to see Joe.
yeah. So we'd like to thank you guys for joining us tonight. I guess, Mark, do we want to watch the rest of Fred playing, or I mean, he's already done his work.
No, I don't want to watch Fred.
Well,
That's right. We got to give a Vanguard to go play, buddy.
we got some baseball to go watch. But thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next week. Happy flipping.